Welcome, valiant viewers out there. Welcome also new people if you're new to this channel. And we're going to do part 2 of the Chinese she-dragons, Wendi Deng. Now, Wendi Deng, she married Rupert Murdoch. Okay, now in my humble view, he should spend the afterlife in eternal purgatory for what he did to the UK in the 80s, destroyed the whole of the north of England and its manufacturing and mining base. And that's before he bought Fox News. So that Rupert Murdoch. So what's the story with Wendi Deng? She got very pally with Jared and Ivanka, to the extent she's the godmother of at least one of their children. And in January of this year, 2018, the FBI warned Jared and Ivanka that they had good reason to believe, from CIA information, that she could be a Chinese spy. Oh, good, said Jared and Ivanka. Took no notice at all. And what did they get out of it? Well, Jared's sister then got caught offering Chinese investors in Kushner companies, offering them US citizenship, completely illegal, totally corrupt, Chinese connection, thank you, Wendi. And then Ivanka miraculously got 20 branding franchises or whatever they were in China that are notoriously difficult to get, if not impossible to get. She got in record time. Thank you, Auntie Wendi. So she's ingratiated herself with them, and they have benefited in typical Trump-Kushner fashion, once again contravening the best interests of the United States. Okay, so this is Wendi. There was also talk she had an affair with Putin. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to do a Celtic cross on Wendi Deng. Strange woman, very powerful woman, worthy of the she-dragon title. And because she's so out there, she's getting the Toth deck. Okay, Wendi Deng. What's happening? Wendi Deng. What's her story, viewers? All right, let me bring you down. Right, okay. Now, her central card, her signifier, the Hierophant, law and order, the legality, it's the legal system, religious systems, all of that. The embodiment of power, right? The embodiment of power in that central position is saying this is not an insignificant player. This is not one of what we call wags, the wives and girlfriends of powerful men. She is enormously powerful in her own right, but also the system, as we know it, is looking at her. So it's a two-way mirrored situation. It's both an indication of her huge power, and secondly, that she may have overstepped some boundaries and is being looked at. To be nominated as a potential Chinese spy means obviously suspicious behavior, suspicious things happening around her, but they probably haven't got the proof because she's a very skilled operator. Now, behind her is the Prince of Wands. It's a gorgeous drawing, isn't it? It's also a very androgynous figure. So although it's a prince and it's a naked male body, there is an androgyny there too. And it's also saying, on one level, I know this sounds old-fashioned, but that she thinks like a man in the sense of being attracted to power for power's sake, as opposed to most women, not all. There's obviously selfish, power-hungry women in every country as well, but normally women are more likely to be thinking of the common good. She isn't. She is driving her own chariot. Now, unlike the actual card, the Chariot, where there are no reins, which have other symbolic meanings, she has control of the chariot. She's really very powerful. Underneath this, because the Thoth is full of chariot-type figures, this is another very strong masculine card with the Prince of Cups, meaning masculine emotions, like I was just saying, this drive, this urgency, and harnessing the power of this massive symbolic mythological bird, which is also reflected in the helmet. So she feels, and she's probably right, she was born to power, she married power, and she has power in her own right. Everything about this is powerhouse. Her challenge across these initial cards, what's crossing it, is the Five of Cups, which is disappointment. It's kind of ironic because she has these potent powers moving forward. Just have a quick look at these chariot-like cards again. Immense movement in these cards, right? But she's disappointed. Not enough power, or worried that someone's looking at how she got the power she's got. But there's clearly a disappointment there. It's also got the inverted pentagram. So if you look at the pentagram symbol up and the pentagram symbol down. So it's like dark power. Okay, a bit further back, the Princess of Cups. She's got two princes and a princess. So when she uses her feminine energy and feminine wiles to a large extent, she's a bit like a black widow spider or bat-like, these wings and stuff. There's a sinister element to her femininity as well. You've got the fish, which is kind of like a salamander, eternal life. It's quite Chinese symbology in many ways here, which is interesting. So right from young, that position is saying right from when she was young, she had these ambitions that are reflected here, and she used her feminine wiles to get in charge of the chariots of power, which would explain why she married Murdoch, who was 20 years older or whatever it was. Okay, what's the overview of her reading? Success. She has had immense success. It's a very radiant card. Totally radiant card. Okay, that's been her trademark. She has succeeded. So why the disappointment? Oh, interesting. Lots of cups, 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 cups. Okay, so in this card, the Three of Cups, abundance. So she's had success and abundance, but it hasn't fulfilled her emotionally. Well, that's because it doesn't, love. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're a vacuous troll, that's what you are. That's not quite fair. Ivanka's a vacuous troll. No, Wendi is a driven being. So the disappointment comes, ironically, from the emotional abundance that should be delivering happiness, along with her obvious success, but it isn't. Isn't life a funny thing? It isn't. How does she think of herself? Oh, of course, the Queen of Swords. She sees herself as a queen. She sees herself as is in control of the intellect, and that her mind is on top of the emotions. So she's had these emotions, cup cards, but her whole drive has been to control them, controlling emotions. And that's how she sees herself, and it's probably quite accurate of what she's actually like. Okay, what's the challenge to the success? Oh, lust. Somehow her sexuality and her sexual behavior is causing her problems. This could be the Putin connection. I wonder. I'll do a clarifier on that. Okay. For her now, the atmosphere or environment for her, the Empress, a bountiful card. She sees herself as the queen of the intellect, the queen of the mind, but she also is fertile with ideas. She is also an Empress in the sense of, you could bet your bottom dollar she has ambitions, these massive ambitions for her children. So as a mother, she's not going to be happy producing the doctor and the lawyer. We're talking wanting her children to rule the world type ambition, okay? Because there's no holding back in this. This is not wanting to be comfortable in life. She's way beyond that. It's wanting almost global domination, massively power hungry. Coming up further up, the Magician card, and she'll need it. So if you go right back to the first card, the Hierophant, she keeps a check on what's going on, but also is being looked at. She's going to need all her powers, all her powers of persuasion and transformation to get out of this situation. This situation is closing in. Again, it's in a funny way, viewers, before I get to the last couple of cards, in a funny way, she's also been caught up in the Trump net. Had she not been so involved with Jared and Ivanka, which was obviously about getting into Trump powerland, she couldn't give a toss, you know, whether she goes skiing in Aspen with Javanka. Yeah, it's the last thing on her scheming mind. Yeah, but because of the Trump thing, and because everything the Trumps do is being looked at in fine print, she could also be brought undone, which wouldn't have happened if she hadn't made these particular decisions. So, coming up, change, yes, the Two of Discs, the card of the manipulator, but also things are changing. She's had a very blessed life, you could say. She's had massive success. She still sees herself as a queen and an empress, but change is coming. The I Ching of change. And further out again, oh, the Lovers. Oh, this is interesting because it twins with the Lust card. Oh, we have to delve in here. Now, as you know from myself and other readers, can't get, because it's a big reading, I have to really reach for the screen. This issue, is it gossip, is it true? She had quite a long affair with Putin. So it could be that as lovers having an influence, but the Lovers card as such can also be deal making, right? And bringing powerful relationships together. It isn't necessarily sexual, but because of the Lust card, right? So I'm going to get a clarifier on the Lust. What is Wendi Deng's lust to do with things? How does that connect the Lovers? Oh, it's another Magician card. Okay, very interesting card in the Thoth deck. And I'll draw your attention to the major arcana being called trumps in the Thoth deck. It's another reason why I love using it. So it's very much about this duality, and I've picked up on that duality throughout this reading, the male-female duality, the Chinese-Western duality, this all this stuff in duality, and there are two sides to Wendi Deng, and I don't think it's as simple as good and evil or anything like that. I think it's power and more power type duality. So she got the Magician here that she's going to employ, and I think she used a bit of magic, old-fashioned magic, in relation to her sexuality and who she slept with. And I don't think it's Murdoch. So let's get a clarifier on the Lovers. Putin. We may or may not get an answer to, was it Putin? Did she have an affair with Putin? Did she have an affair with Putin? Did she have an affair? All the sun frolicking, I think maybe she did. And I think she actually really enjoyed that affair, not because I think he was a sensational shag, but the power. She got off on the power. And what I saw in one piece of quite good investigative journalism supporting the case that she did have an affair with Putin, it was indicated he ended it, not her. I think she enjoyed that romance immensely because she was bringing together, because her idea is world domination. I mean, really, I'm not exaggerating. So that brings together, Rupert brings her the West, Australia, the US, the UK. She's Chinese representing China. She has an affair with the strongman of Russia. Short of really taking on some Middle Eastern toy boys, she's just about conquered the world. I think it was a massive part of her life, and I do believe she had an affair with Putin. Why did he call it off? We could go on if we had more time, viewers. Personally, I think he's a bit in the closet himself and would only be going through the motions, but could be wrong. I've never read on that. Okay, unlike Lindsay, Queen of Swords, Graham. Okay. Well, that's Wendi Deng. She won't be happy until she does rule the world. She's actually gone a long way towards that. Will she get caught? That question will have to be asked another day. Had to get that out of the system. And soon I'll be back with you, because in a matter of hours we will know what is happening with these various court cases. And because of the George Bush Senior funeral, I think next week is going to be a doozy. So we'll be enduring it together. Thanks, guys. Keep those comments rolling in. Oh, just before I finish on Wendi, we've often wondered about the Queen of Pentacles figure, who can be different women in different readings. But I think she's one of the ones going through, because she's so profoundly wealthy and profoundly powerful, but she does it from behind the scenes. Okay, bye for now.